first up, when we talk about IEEE's 802.1x, we need to talk about the different components that make this up. First off, the supplicant. Now, the supplicant is usually the client itself or the piece of equipment they're using to connect. We most often in this course will mention this as a wireless client. But 802.1x is not just for wireless. It is used in wired environments as well. It is considered a port security protocol. So what we're really going to look at is any type of device that is looking through authentication. In this course, we're talking about wireless clients, but it could be used in many different aspects and rules. So even wired clients can be considered a supplicant if you have an authentication server, a radius server set up in the background. Next up, we have the authenticator. Now, the authenticator is what passes along 802.1x traffic and drops all other traffic until we have validated the supplicant. So this is kind of like the gatekeeper. So what it's going to do is it's going to take that packet, that 802.1x packet that's trying to authenticate the supplicant, and it's going to pass that along to the authentication server. Anything else that the supplicant tries to send until it's granted access by the authentication server is going to be dropped. And anything else, like traffic like that that's moving along, is going to be thrown in what I like to refer to as the bit bucket. Okay, we're not going to pass that traffic along unless it has been authenticated. So who does all this authenticating? Well, you know, in some environments you can have a wireless LAN controller that has an authentication server attached to it. You know, those are smaller environments. In larger environments, we're actually going to have an authentication server. In most cases, an EAT plugin for a radius server, some type of large radius server that's looking at our LDAP server, as you know, bringing in our user base and things like that. But the radius server is what actually gives us that authentication. So 802.1x traffic is going to be passed along by the authenticator. It's going to put it in, like, encapsulate and kind of send it along to this authentication server. This authentication server is going to reply back, say, hey, okay, that supplicant is all right. And then once that process takes place, the supplicant can then have access. Like I said, this doesn't necessarily happen in just a wireless environment. We can see this in a wired environment. The authenticator doesn't have to be a wireless access point. It could be a switch, right? We could see a switch in a wired environment. That could be a switch there. Could be the authenticator. The authentication server can actually be an all-in-one device, so it can be an authenticator and an authentication server. So we have to be aware that although we have these clearly defined roles, sometimes we merge these roles together depending on our environment.